The massive doors of the Galactic Council chamber hissed open, their ancient metal surfaces etched with the histories of 1,000 worlds. 3 figures stepped into the dim light, their silhouettes casting long shadows across the polished floor. They were the elite of the HFY Hunting Guild, legendary trackers who had never failed a contract in their centuries-long existence. Zakar moved like liquid shadow, his scaled skin absorbing what little light touched it. 4 yellow eyes blinked in sequence as he surveyed the chamber, a habit formed from centuries of hunting the galaxy's most dangerous prey. Behind him, Vex 117's mechanical parts whirred quietly, status lights pulsing beneath chrome plating that had replaced most of their original body. The cybernetic hunter's head tilted at precise angles, recording and analyzing every detail of their surroundings. Mira floated slightly above the ground, her translucent form rippling like silk in water, tendrils of psychic energy curling around her consciousness as she tasted the fears and tensions filling the room. "Welcome, hunters," spoke High Counselor Devax, their crystalline form glowing with barely contained anxiety. "We face an unprecedented threat to galactic stability, one that requires your unique talents." Zakar's upper eyes narrowed. "The HFY Guild does not handle simple threats, Counselor. We are not common mercenaries." Indeed, the High Counselor's crystal surface flickered with patterns of distress. "Your target is not common at all. We require you to capture specimens of a species that has become increasingly problematic: humans." Vex 117's optical sensors whirred as they accessed their vast database. Humans. Origin: Earth. Technology level: moderate. Physical capabilities: unremarkable. Threat assessment: minimal. A harsh laugh echoed from another council member, their gas-based form swirling in agitation. "Minimal. They have disrupted trade agreements that stood for millennia. They forge alliances between species that should be impossible. They solve problems in ways that defy all logical protocols." Mirith's ethereal voice floated through their minds. "You fear them not for their strength, but for their unpredictability. They are chaos given form," Devax continued, crystal surface now pulsing rapid patterns of red and orange. "They sacrifice efficiency for what they call creativity. They ignore perfectly functional solutions in favor of untested methods. Worst of all, other species are beginning to emulate them." Zakar stepped forward, his movement so smooth it seemed he teleported. "You speak of their weaknesses, yet your fear suggests strength. Explain." The council chamber's holographic display activated, showing footage of human activities across the galaxy. A small human ship rushing into an asteroid field to save a stranded alien vessel. Human diplomats mediating peace between species that had warred for generations. Human scientists collaborating with multiple races, combining incompatible technologies in ways that shouldn't work, but did. "Your mission is to capture several specimens for study. We must understand how they think, how they function. The stability of our galactic society depends on containing their influence." Vex 117's mechanical hands flexed. "Terms: payment will be 3 times our standard rate. You will have unlimited resources and full diplomatic immunity in human-controlled space." The 3 hunters exchanged glances. Zakar spoke for them all. "The HFY Hunting Guild accepts your contract. We will begin immediately." As they left the chamber, Mirith broadcasted a private thought to her companions. "The Council's fear is genuine, but their stated reasons are not. There is more to this hunt than they reveal." "Agreed," Vex 117's electronic voice hummed. "Humans warrant closer study. Perhaps the hunt itself will reveal the truth." Zakar simply nodded, all 4 eyes focused on the human data already streaming across his retinal display. In all his centuries of hunting, he had never encountered prey that was feared not for their strength or technology, but for their very nature. This would be a hunt to remember. The human research vessel, Curiosity's Child, drifted at the edge of the Nexus Nebula, its modest size belying the breakthrough discoveries its crew had made in just 6 months of exploration. Zakar watched through his ship's stealth screens, all 4 eyes fixed on the vessel's movement patterns. Something about their behavior seemed off. Their engine capacity is at 82%, yet they maintain minimal speed, Vex 117 reported from their tactical station. Illogical. They should be utilizing optimal power for maximum research efficiency. Mirith's ethereal form shimmered with curiosity. They are waiting for something. I sense anticipation, but no fear. How strange. The hunters had been tracking this particular vessel for 3 days, analyzing its crew's patterns and seeking the perfect moment to strike. But the humans consistently defied tactical predictions, making seemingly random stops and course changes that served no obvious purpose. Suddenly, the ship's sensors lit up with warning signals. A massive solar flare from the nebula's core was approaching, far larger than any previous recorded activity. The human vessel's engines roared to life, but instead of retreating to a safe distance, they accelerated toward the danger. Suicidal behavior detected, Vex 117 announced, their mechanical joints whirring in agitation. Probability of survival, 12.3%. Zakar leaned forward, scales bristling with tension. What are they doing? The answer came moments later as their sensors detected a small ship hidden in the nebula's gases, a vessel belonging to the Xithtal, a species of silicon-based creatures known for their valuable mineral research. The Xithtal ship was trapped in the nebula's magnetic fields, directly in the path of the approaching solar flare. Without hesitation, the human vessel positioned itself between the stranded aliens and the incoming wave of stellar radiation. Their shields flared brilliantly as they extended their protective field around the Xithtal ship. Their shields cannot withstand this level of radiation, Vex 117 calculated. Hull breach imminent. But the humans didn't retreat. Instead, they used their own ship as a tug, pulling the Xithtal vessel to safety even as their hull began to crack under the strain. Emergency pods ejected from the human ship, scattering in different directions as their vessel's systems failed catastrophically. Zakar made a split-second decision. Track the nearest pod. We take one as a sample. His personal hunter pod streaked through space, closing in on a human escape vessel. But just as he was about to activate the capture beam, a piece of debris from their sacrifice ship spun toward him at incredible speed. His pod's controls froze. A direct hit would be fatal. Then something unexpected happened. The human pod changed course, positioning itself to deflect the debris away from Zakar's vessel. The impact damaged their pod severely, sending it tumbling into space, but they had saved their would-be captor's life. Zakar watched in stunned silence as his quarry drifted away, now too damaged to pursue. Back on their main ship, Mirith's psychic abilities picked up the humans' surface thoughts even at this distance. They knew we were here, she whispered in disbelief. They sensed our presence days ago, but weren't trying to escape. They were studying us, just as we studied them. Vex 117's processors whirred as they analyzed the incident. Their actions defy all strategic logic. They sacrificed a valuable research vessel to save an alien species, then risked their own survival to save a potential enemy. This behavior does not compute. Zakar remained silent, his upper eyes fixed on the drifting human pod, while his lower eyes watched the Xithtal ship broadcasting urgent rescue signals. For the first time in his centuries-long career, he felt something unexpected: respect for his prey. Perhaps, he finally said, the Council's fear of humans stems not from their illogical behavior, but from our inability to understand their kind of logic. Mirith floated through the bustling corridors of New Singapore Space Station, her translucent form drawing less attention than expected. Humans, she had learned, were remarkably accepting of diverse life forms. Her psychic tendrils brushed against countless minds as she moved, each contact revealing new pieces of a puzzle that had been bothering her for weeks. In a quiet corner of the station's diplomatic sector, she materialized more fully to meet her teammates. Zakar emerged from the shadows, while Vex 117 deactivated their holographic disguise. "The Council lied to us," Mirath stated without preamble. "Their fear isn't about human unpredictability. It's about what humans can inspire others to become." She projected her collected memories into their minds. Images flashed between them. A Voldroni weapons merchant teaching human children how to create art, despite his species being famous for despising anything non-practical. A group of traditionally isolationist crystal mines playing human sports with their organic neighbors. Even the notoriously aggressive swarm collectives engaging in cultural exchange programs. Impossible. Vex 117's mechanical voice hummed with disbelief. These species have fundamental genetic and psychological incompatibilities. Their cooperation defies all established sociological models. Zakar's upper eyes narrowed. "Yet we see it happening." "Explain." Mirath's form rippled with excitement. "Humans have a unique ability. They don't see boundaries the way other species do. Where we see insurmountable differences, they see opportunities for connection. Their chaotic nature allows them to bridge gaps that more logical species would never attempt to cross." Vex 117 projected a holographic display of their tactical analysis. Confirmed. Human diplomatic success rate exceeds statistical probability by 47.3%. They achieve peaceful resolutions in scenarios where our most advanced AI predict only conflict. Multiple examples found of humans creating technological breakthroughs by combining incompatible alien engineering principles. "The Council fears this," Zakar concluded, his scales shifting color with understanding. "Not because humans are dangerous themselves, but because they're changing how other species think," Mirath finished. "I found classified Council documents. They've maintained power for millennia by keeping species separate, managing conflicts, controlling the flow of ideas. Humans don't just ignore these boundaries. They actively break them down." The evidence was displayed in Vex 117's holograms. Trade routes between formerly hostile species, mixed species colonies thriving where segregation had been the norm, and technological advancement rates skyrocketing in areas with high human interaction. "There's more," Mirath added grimly. "The Council doesn't want specimens for study. They want to develop a biological agent, something to suppress the human drive to explore and connect. They believe making humans more logical will stop their influence from spreading." Zakar moved to the viewport, watching the diverse crowd below. A human child was teaching a hive mind drone how to play with a simple toy, while nearby, a cybernetic being similar to Vex 117 was laughing. Actually laughing. At a human's joke. "The Council's logic is flawed," Vex 117 stated. "Eliminating human characteristics would not just harm humans. It would," they paused, their processors searching for the right words, "diminish the galaxy." Mirath felt something she had never experienced in centuries of hunting. Shame. "We were sent to help imprison the very thing that might help our galaxy truly evolve. The question is, what do we do with this knowledge?" Zakar turned from the viewport, all four eyes glowing with determination. "We do what hunters do best. We track our real prey, the truth. And then we decide which side of this hunt we should really be on." The Kthresh hunting ship drifted in the shadow of a gas giant, its systems running silent as its 3 occupants faced the most difficult decision of their centuries-long careers. On the main viewing screen, a message from the Council blinked steadily. "Proceed with capture. Target: Human research team on Europa Station. Payment doubled." Zakar paced the bridge, his scaled form rippling with unusual agitation. For the first time in 300 years, his hunter's instincts warred with his sense of honor. Nearby, Vex 117 sat motionless, their cybernetic systems running countless ethical simulations, while Mirath's ethereal form flickered with emotional turbulence. "I accessed the Council's secure databases," Vex 117 announced, breaking the tense silence. The biological weapon is already in development. They merely need human test subjects to perfect it. Their mechanical hands clenched. Projected casualties: 30% of the human population within the first wave. Secondary effects: suppression of creativity, curiosity, and emotional bonding capacity in survivors. Mirith's form darkened with distress. I touched the minds of those researchers on Europa Station. They're working on ways to help silicon-based life forms survive on organic worlds. Their work could help millions of displaced species find new homes. Her voice trembled. We would be destroying more than just humans. Zakar stopped pacing, his 4 eyes focusing on a small trinket in his hand. A simple wooden carving given to him by a human child during their investigation. The child had seen him in his true form, yet showed curiosity instead of fear, even offering him this gift, because you looked lonely. The guild has never broken a contract, he said quietly. In 1,000 years, not once. The guild has never faced a contract that threatened the entire galaxy's future, Vex 117 countered. Their status lights pulsed with unusual patterns, signs of emotional subroutines they'd never admitted to having. My logic circuits have reached an unprecedented conclusion. Sometimes the most rational choice is to defy logic itself. A sudden alert caught their attention. The Council was deploying backup hunters, less skilled but more numerous. They had 6 hours at most to make their choice. Mirith projected the memories she'd gathered from human minds, their joy, their sorrows, their boundless desire to connect with and understand others. They dream of things that should be impossible, then find ways to make them real. They see beauty in chaos and possibility in failure. The Council calls these weaknesses, but they are strengths we never knew we needed. Zakar finished. He crushed the Council's message pod in his clawed hand. We are hunters. Our job is to track truth, not just prey. And the truth is, we would be destroying something precious to preserve something stagnant. Vex 117 stood, their chassis humming with purpose. The logical choice: warn the humans. Probability of success against Council forces: 27.3%. Probability of maintaining galactic stability through current Council methods: 12.8%. Choice is clear. We'll be marked as traitors, Mirith whispered, though her form was brightening with resolve. The guild will disown us. Everything we've built over centuries. Zakar moved to the ship's controls, his movements once again smooth and certain. Then we build something new, something better, like humans would do. All 4 of his eyes gleamed with determination. Set course for Europa Station. Maximum speed. We have a different hunt to complete now. One for justice. As their ship burst from its hiding place, accelerating toward human space, each hunter felt something unfamiliar yet energizing. The sense that they were about to become part of a story much bigger than themselves. They had chosen to become defenders rather than captors, and somehow, that felt right. The grand meeting hall of Europa Station hummed with tense energy as Commander Sarah Chen of the Human Defense Force faced the 3 most dangerous bounty hunters in the galaxy. Behind her, 24 plasma rifles were trained on the visitors. Yet the hunters had come unarmed, their weapons left aboard their ship. Zakar stepped forward, his scaled form catching the light of Jupiter visible through the station's massive windows. We bring you truth and a choice, he said, placing a data crystal on the table between them. As the evidence played out, holographic displays of the Council's plans, the biological weapon, the conspiracy. Commander Chen's expression remained neutral. Only Mirith, with her psychic abilities, could sense the humans' churning emotions beneath that calm exterior. So, Chen said when the presentation ended, the most powerful government in the galaxy wants to rewrite human nature because we're too friendly. A smile tugged at her lips. That might be the most human compliment I've ever heard. Vex 117's mechanical form straightened. You are amused. Our calculations predicted anger, fear, or preparation for war. "Oh, we're definitely preparing," Chen replied. But then she did something that shocked the hunters. She ordered her security team to lower their weapons. "But not for war. You've given us a chance to prepare for something better." She activated the station's own holographic system, showing images that stunned the hunters. Dozens of worlds where humans had already created thriving multi-species communities. Research stations where varied alien races worked together, combining their unique perspectives to solve ancient problems. Trading posts where traditional enemies now haggled peacefully over goods. "The Council thinks chaos is our weapon," Chen explained. "They're wrong. Understanding is our weapon. Acceptance is our shield. And friendship," she grinned, "that's our superpower." Zakhar's 4 eyes blinked in sequence. "You knew. You've been preparing for something like this." "We suspected. Humanity's been around long enough to know that when people in power fear connection and cooperation, they're usually not the good guys." Chen leaned forward. "But what we really need now aren't hunters. We need guides." Mirith floated closer. "Guides? The galaxy is full of species who've been kept apart, taught to fear each other. We need people who understand both sides, the old way and the new. People who can hunt down opportunities for connection instead of conflict." Vex 117's processors hummed as they analyzed the proposal. "You are suggesting we become facilitators of change rather than enforcers of stability. Probability of success, calculating. Error, too many variables." Chen laughed. "Welcome to the human way of doing things. Sometimes you have to leap without knowing where you'll land." Zakhar, the eldest of the hunters, felt something he hadn't experienced in centuries. Hope. "The guild will not survive this change. Our entire way of life will evolve," Chen finished, "into something better. Together." As if to punctuate her words, an alert sounded. Council ships had been detected entering the system. But instead of panic, Commander Chen merely smiled wider. Perfect timing. Ready to see how humans handle a crisis, she activated her comm system. "All stations, initiate protocol. New friends. And somebody get our guests some offices. I think the Department of Interspecies Cooperation just found its new directors." As alarms blared and the station hummed with activity, the 3 hunters watched in amazement as humans rushed to battle stations with the same enthusiasm they'd shown at cultural exchanges. There was no fear, only determination. And, strangely enough, excitement. Marith's psychic senses tingled with the energy of possibilities. "I think," she said softly, "this is the beginning of a very different kind of hunt." Indeed, Zakhar agreed, watching humans and aliens working seamlessly together to prepare their defenses. A hunt for a better galaxy.